A physical injury can cost you money, time, freedom and often mental anguish, which is why health and fitness experts call on South Africans who have set goals for themselves to get back into the gym to meet their fitness goals. Our reporter Ntokozo Khumalo is still out to the once active gym in Sandton. Ntokozo, did you manage to put in the hours work?
Thanks, Hugo. Indeed, I've sweated a little bit over the last hour, but now things are a little bit more relaxed. And we're certainly talking about injuries, that it doesn't matter whether you are, at advanced stages of your training or really just trying to get back into the gym for the new year. Injuries is something that can take place and can discourage a lot of people from continuing on with their training or their gym to get back to health. And just to unpack for us a little bit on how to take care of those injuries and why it's so important, I'm joined by Sean Fuller, who is the in-house chiropractor here at Once Active Gym. Sean, thank you so much for talking to us. Now, I've seen you before for a little bit of a shoulder injury, and I remember one of the things that you said was it's important to take care of the injury before the injury takes care of you. Can you unpack for us a little bit in the context of people wanting to come back into gym?
So when you get an injury, usually pain is your first warning sign. And the reason you want to listen to pain and not wait 3 weeks later is because sometimes it's something quite small like a pulled muscle, or can be something more severe. So injury prevention would come in line with, seeing a professional before seeking out medical care. So getting like an assessment is quite important. Also, if you leave injuries untreated and you continue to train, you can develop more severe conditions where your conservative care is no longer effective. Now you might be looking at surgeries or something more lengthy. On top of waiting for injuries and treating them as a chronic thing, so anything above 2 months, is the cost involved. It becomes very costly to, treat a Achilles tendonitis, for example. It's maybe not one session, it could be up to 12. Also, if you're a professional athlete, it puts you out of playtime. You cannot go on the field, you cannot perform. And as a professional career, that can have quite a big effect. Besides that, it also can lead to injuries in different areas. So if you have lower back pain, maybe you're going to develop a hip or knee injury as well. So that's quite important with regards to injuries. Most patients today are becoming more proactive about injuries and are not just treating themselves at home. It's quite important to be proactive about that and to not rely on Dr. Google, for example. So if you say, okay, well, I'm suffering from this pain in my calf, I'm going to look on Google. That also can freak you out sometimes, and make it seem like it's something so much worse than it actually is. And also, the doctor knows better. They know exactly what's going on, and sometimes you can't gauge exactly what you're suffering from. And, it just, performance-wise, from elite to, just general training, trying to get healthier, lose weight, identifying biomechanical issues before they become injuries are really important things to do. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what are some of the injuries that people are most likely prone to have at the gym, and are there those remedies that they could do at home before they come and see you?
Yeah, so it depends what type of training. So if it's weightlifting, you're most looking at lower back pain. If it's just a pulled muscle, generally the best thing to do is go home, rest, stop training for a few days, put a heat pack on. If you know a few stretches of the back, like side bending or anything like that, good to start with that. Some over-the-counter and anti-inflammatories are quite good start. That's, one of the most common things. Same for neck or shoulder injuries. It's got to do with the way the patient or the athlete actually performs the exercise. So, those are the big things, the stretching, ice, heat. If you know a bit about taping, some people even tape themselves. It's better than nothing. But, those are the things you can do at home.
Thank you so much, Sean. So heat, some cold, and of course a little bit of that stretching as well. And now I'm joined by the owner of Once Active Gym, just to unpack for us a little bit, this holistic style or holistic approach to a gym is Dorian Kelby. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, tell us a little bit about, you obviously have over 30 years experience in the industry, and we hear a lot of trends year in, year out when it comes to health and fitness. What motivated you to start a gym like this, and is it getting rid of some of those myths around health and fitness?
Yes, I think most definitely getting rid of some of the myths around fitness. I think just to answer your question on why I got into the industry, I was extremely passionate about it. There weren't really gyms that were going after my methodology or following that type of methodology, so I thought it would be a good idea to break away from the more the commercial style club and start a unique, I don't like saying private club because everyone's welcome, but I think at the end I was frustrated about seeing people from an aesthetically pleasing side. I didn't want you to come and say I want to lose weight and I want a six-pack and all. That was always most people, 90% of people's goals. I think most importantly for me was understanding what is your, and Rati went through it with you earlier, is understanding what is your blood pressure, what is your cholesterol, what's going on with your heart, what is your lung function. Before I even look at the outside, understanding what's going on in the inside. The reason for that, because you prescribe very different programs to an individual who's in a different state of health. And before we can just jump onto one of the fads of exercise, we need to understand where we are. And where our health status is. For example, if you're going to go and do a high-intensity workout, which just on the ranking now for this year has dropped to about 6th or 7th, and we'll talk more about that, and you're already adrenalized, so you stressed at work or you stressed from family life, and you go and do a high-intensity workout, that's actually working against your stress levels. You're adrenalizing yourself even more. You're not balancing your stress levels, and that's going to interrupt sleep, it's going to interrupt performance, it's going to make you feel like you're back in to get out of bed in the morning. So you certainly want to move away from that type of thing.
And now my colleagues obviously in studio were asking about the different age groups that we do find, and how someone who's over the age of 35 has had a couple of injuries in their training journey. What kind of exercises can they do, but also what do programs such as the Vitality program assist with them?
Okay, so I think more the Vitality program is more an assessment side, which we do run here. That is again going to give you a basis of where your health status is. As far as points are concerned, we do have the kiosk. You can come and put your points in, and then wearables, which is number one now on the list of trends for 2023, is where you can gain additional points for Vitality. But as far as exercises are concerned, that is entirely up to the industry, to that particular establishment of what exercises you're going to do, or if you're going to commercial clubs, you can train how you want, and in this facility. So your rewards are going to come from your wearables and from your access control through the kiosk.
And just finally, what is the importance, or where does where does sleep, hydration fall into the fitness journey?
Okay, so this is very important, and we're speaking about New Year's resolutions. I've always been, not much of an advocate for it because it is short-lived. Most people's New Year's resolutions are 2 to 3 weeks, and that's about it. I prefer to focus on 365 days, and one of them being sleep, as you've mentioned, and let's just go into them a little bit. You need to focus on good sleep. Sleep is important to optimize your performance, no matter what field you're in. You need to understand that with technology and having screens, it's posed a massive threat on people's energy levels during the day. The reason for that, just to unpack it a little bit, is that you've got melatonin, which is your sleep hormone, that is excreted at night to slow your body down to get you ready for sleep. If you've been on a screen and you stop using that screen, say at 10 o'clock, and you can go to bed, your body actually only falls into a proper restful sleep, REM, 2 hours later. So there was a great study that they did on teenagers going into chronic fatigue, and what they found is that from being on the screen, the teenagers that thought that they were sleeping 8 hours a night were only actually getting 6 hours a night sleep. So very important to understand the melatonin and your wake-up hormone, which is serotonin. Those are very important, not to go to bed too late either. Okay. On the hydration level, again, so important. They've linked hydration to chronic fatigue and to depression. And the reason for that is that people have got reported on studies they've done getting up in the morning, feeling exhausted, not being able to get out of bed, not knowing what's wrong with them, and they've either gone on medication, that it hasn't been, looked at their hydration levels, and individuals were actually dehydrated. So you can remain hydrated on water, but you can't rehydrate on water. So you've had a workout, an intense workout, you have to put the minerals back into your body. Now, in order to get the equation right for how much water you should drink, if you're a man who weighs 82 kgs, then you round it to the nearest 10, which will be 8, and that's 8 glasses of 250 mils of water. If you're 60 kgs, it's 6 glasses of 250 mils of water, and you can top up on days that you exercise. But it doesn't make sense for a lady who weighs 55 kgs to drink the same amount as a man who weighs 100 kgs. And the industry prescribes that, 2 liters of water. You can't be 2 liters for 55 kgs and 125 kgs. The organs are different, they perform differently, the size of the person. So that's very important to understand. Further than that, you look at your flexibility. A lot of the times, tight muscles become blamed or are blamed for people being tight. What the recent study shows that your fascia and which is your connective tissue throughout your body, has to remain 80% hydrated. If it's not hydrated, it's pointless how flexible you think the muscle is. It's not going to allow you to optimize your mobility. So a key thing would be getting up in the morning. If you feel that you cannot hardly walk and you get up and you feel a bit crampy and you're so tight, that is most of the time a fascia hydration problem, as opposed to just a mobility problem or stiffness from exercise. So you've got to make sure that your hydration is up just for mobility. And then on the breath side, on breathing, very important to understand the breath. A lot of people have become mouth breathers, and I encourage viewers to help their family members. If you watch somebody watching TV and you look at them and their mouth is open, encourage them to close their mouth. You breathe in oxygen. Carbon dioxide, which used to be known as the enemy of gases, is actually not the enemy. It hydrates the cell on a cellular molecular level, which is your performance. Your body can't function without cells. And if